Hey, how's it going? This is Rob from Justin's Toys, and today I'm going to show you how to make the Sailor's Pinstripe. Now, this is my own original design. This bracelet here is actually over 300 rubber bands. This one is exactly 216, and this fits around my wrist, but this one is probably going to fit around a kid's wrist. Reason why I call it a Sailor's Pinstripe is because if these pinstripes weren't here, it'd kind of look like a sailor's bracelet. This bracelet is actually reversible, so you'll see these vertical rubber bands is actually what holds it together, but is also a pretty cool design depending on how you change your color theme. This also has 4 clips on it, so make sure you have 4 clips. The downside about this rubber band, you need 2 looms. There's no way around it. Alright, so let's get started. So you're going to want to set up your loom just like this. You can actually pause it so you could set it up. This is actually strategically the best way to set it up, and I did think about it for a while, so just set it up like this. Alright, once you have your setup complete, you want to start off by making sure that the arrow is pointing away from you. So in this situation, it's going to start like this. Alright? What I'm going to do in my bracelet is I'm going to have a white band on the left, white band on the right, and in the middle I'm going to have a rainbow with gray pinstripes. So I'm going to start with my leftmost rubber bands, and what you want to do is pick up 2 rubber bands of the same exact color. Alright, and you're going to place them on the first to second peg. Alright, that's 2 rubber bands. Then you're going to pick up another 2 rubber bands and place them on the second and third peg. Alright, and you're going to keep on doing this until your whole entire column is completely filled. Alright. Alright, so now that I'm done, now I can start my second column. Alright, and I'm going to start with the rightmost. Again, grab 2 and put them on the first to second, then 2, second and third, and you're doing this all the way down the line. Now you need to make sure that you always start on one end and go to the other end, because if you don't, then the thing's gonna fall apart. Alright. So now I'm ready to do my middle columns. Alright, so I'm going to pick another 2 rubber bands, put them on the first, second peg, and pick my second and third, and put them on my next one. two, next one, and do that all the way down the line. Alright, so now I'm finished with that, and now I got just one more column to go. And again, grab two more rubber bands, put it on the first, second, and second, third. Alright, now I have to pick this pinstripe color. So this white color that's on this bracelet, in this situation I am going to pick gray. So you're going to take the gray rubber band and you're going to put it across all four pegs on the loom. So gray rubber band, put it across all four pegs, and you're just going to do that all the way across the whole entire loom. Alright, so my setup is finally complete. Now remember this, because you're actually going to have to recreate this whole entire thing later. But at this point, you're actually ready to start looming. So you're going to make sure that now the arrow is pointing towards you. So instead of these pegs looking like U's, they're going to look like horseshoes. Alright. So now, what I do is I take this hook and I push everything down on the front of the rows so that it's actually going to minimize the chances of error doing this, because it's going to separate those rubber bands from the grays, and if you confuse them, it might not hold together right. Alright, so I'm gonna start. First thing you want to do is take your hook, put it in that first peg in front of that gray, grab those bottom two, and then bring it up and over that second peg. Then you're gonna want to do that with this one, but keep in mind this one and this one, these two fuchsias that are being brought up, are going to feel like they're really loose. So the trick is here is to bring it over and keep a finger over it so that it's not going to fall out. Same with this one, because it's going to be extremely loose. And then now the last row. So I'm picking up these bottom two whites. Alright, so as you see, when I brought that white one up, this one loosened up completely. Alright, now this is the biggest trick to this bracelet. This is why this bracelet is so unique, is that now the next step is this gray rubber band that's right here is coming on top. I'm actually going to hold all of these in place because it does tend to be kind of difficult. So you're taking this gray rubber band and you're pulling it over and down like that. This first one is by far the hardest and by far the most prone to errors. And then you can move on. So now you're going in that first peg in that second row, and you're grabbing those bottom two rubber bands. I hold it so it doesn't fall out, and then you're bringing it up and over. Alright, in front of that gray rubber band, grab those two purples from under, up and over. Grab those two purple rubber bands from in front of those grays. Up and over. And then those two whites from in front of all of those. And up and over. So you'll see that if you did everything right, it should look like that. Alright? So try to make sure it looks like that before proceeding, because this is the highest chance of error early on. Right here, if you catch it, and you might not have to do this again, but if you don't, then this whole entire loom was useless. Alright, so once you did that, again, remember to grab the gray, up and over. Then go in that third peg, the first peg in that third row, up and over, up and over, up and over. And over, and again, grab that gray, bring it down, Alright, last one, up and over. Alright, so if you did everything right, it should look like teardrops all the way down the line, and on the side it should look like this. And at this point, you can actually remove the bracelet from the loom, and you're going to do that by grabbing this first gray one, pulling it off, and you're going to bring it off all the way up until this last row. So you want to hold on to that row, and you're going to grab the rubber bands from the pegs. If everything is right, the bracelet should stay intact. I do this slowly because, like you just saw, that one rubber band was caught. You don't want it to snap at any point, because that would stink. Alright, I bring it all the way up until that last row while holding it tightly so that it's not going to fall off. Alright. So as you can see, the bracelet's starting to form. It looks like the back of this rubber band bracelet. And then now what you're going to have to do is, since this clearly isn't enough to go around your wrist, you're going to want to transfer this onto one of these. So in order to transfer this, I'm going to need another one of these. And I'm actually going to place it next to this so that all of these rubber bands are going to come to this peg, all of these rubber bands are going to come to this peg, and so on and so forth. The way you do this, I'm actually going to secure this by putting a base there and then holding it as close as possible. And then what I do is I take the hook, put it in the hole, make sure I grab all of the rubber bands, bring it up, make sure, see, this part is really difficult, so I advise you to be very careful. I'm not sure if you saw that, but that's actually how you have to do it, unless you want to invest in 4 looms, so you don't have to do this step. So I go in, grab all 4 ends of that rubber band, bring it up, and pull around, and over. Alright. And again, under that gray, I'm going to make sure this gray is behind. Go in, that hole, grab all 4 of those rubber bands, bring it up, and then pull it over. Alright. And then last but not least, the white. Go in, grab all 4 of those rubber bands, bring it off. Now it's not connected to that loom anymore. And then grab one end and bring it up and over. Alright, so there you go. I have transferred it onto this. And now this whole entire loom actually has to be refilled in the same exact way that you had it before. So I'll be right back once everything is refilled. So now I got my loom filled, and first step is make sure that now the arrow is pointing towards you, and here is the other part that I need to transfer onto here. So it's similar to how we transferred off. You're going to transfer this back onto this peg, this back onto this peg, this back onto this peg, and this back onto this peg. And notice how I have grays on all of the rows except for the first one. You actually don't need it at this point because this is going to be the same as this as far as that goes. Just, you don't need it. Alright, so we're going to go in, we're going to grab all those rubber bands, and then we are going to transfer it onto that first peg. So this is the easiest way that I do it. I just grab it by the side and bring it back up. Alright. It gets kind of tangled over here, but make sure that you're grabbing these in front of all the grays. So, in the hole, grab all the rubber bands, bring it off, grab the side, and then bring it up and over. Alright, and this one, in the holes, grab it by the side, over, up and over. And then that last one, grab all 4 rubber bands, grab it by the side, up and over. And there you go, the transfer is complete. And we are ready to start looming again. Alright, now we're just going to continue just like before. You're going to put it in the hole, go in front of all of the rubber bands, except those bottom 2. You're grabbing those 2, then you're bringing it up and over. And this one too. You're going in front of everything except those first 2 fuchsias. So, I grab one. This is why it's so important to push down, because it's going to make everything easier. Okay, so in the hole, and grab those 2, and bring it up and over. Hole, grab those 2, up and over. In the hole, grab those 2, and up and over. Alright. Then remember, you gotta pull the gray down. Then you're gonna continue all the way to the end of the loom. So I'll be back after this whole thing's complete. Alright, so now we're done. Again, now we're going to pull it off and hold this end. Alright, so this isn't enough to go all the way around my wrist, but I'm gonna end it here. I mean, if it was for me, I would actually do transfer, fill this up, and then transfer it back and make it even longer, but for time's sake, you get the point. You could just rewind the video and just do the same step over. But now we're actually going to clip. Alright, so to clip this bracelet, you're not gonna need both rubber bands over here. This is basically 4 bracelets. As you can see, this first bracelet ends with these 2 rubber bands. This bracelet ends with these 2 rubber bands. This bracelet here ends with these 2 fuchsias, and this bracelet here ends with these 2 whites. You only really need to clip one of them, and the other one you can actually get rid of. And this, in my experience, is the cleanest method. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to clip this side first, because this side is the more important side, because obviously this side right here is not going to fall apart because of the rubber band that's holding it together. So you're going to just take off one rubber band on each of these pegs. Alright? So just go down and grab only one rubber band. Let it go. Grab one rubber band from the reds. Alright, let it go. Grab one rubber band from this one. Let it go. And then grab one rubber band from here. And then let it go. And then after you do that, just tug over here until that one rubber band comes all the way down. You see how I'm tugging on those bottom 2 rubber bands? Just tug until that rubber band comes all the way down. Alright, so these loose ones you can actually just rip off, because they're just going to get in the way. Now that those are ripped off, you can actually just put this in the hook, put the hook in the hole, have your clip ready, clip both of those, and get your next clip. Put it in the hole. Around and clip that. Alright, grab your next clip, third peg, put in the hole. Clip it. Grab your last clip. Put it in that last hole. And then clip it. Alright. Now you're actually okay to remove this whole thing from the loom. Alright, so do it gently. Alright, so that's fully clipped. Now what you want to do is you want to bring it around to the other end. So you're just making sure that you're grabbing this bracelet. There's two rubber bands that are actually holding all of these together, and you just have to grab the two ends of that same rubber band. So since this is two rubber bands, you want to identify both ends of the same rubber band, and you can do that by pulling on one and seeing which one shortens on the other side, and that's going to be that rubber band that you want to grab both of. So for this one, this rightmost bracelet, I'm going to clip onto this. So since I got both ends, now I can clip it. Okay, as you can see, this other rubber band, later on you can actually rip this off because it really doesn't serve any purpose. Now move to the second bracelet. So I pull that, I see that one shortens, so I'm going to grab both those ends, and then I'm going to clip it onto this second clip. Okay, now this next bracelet, which is right here, pull one end, means that one is the other end of this one, and these two have to be the same, so grab both ends. And then clip it onto the end of the third bracelet. Okay, and now the last one. Identify two ends. So that one, maybe this one go down. So you want to grab those two ends and then clip it. And that one has to be the other end. So there you go. Now I'm fully clipped. As you can see, there's this one that's not serving really any purpose. So you can actually rip these off. You know, it might make it look better. In this case I am, because I want it to look perfect. But it won't cause it to fall apart at all, because these bracelets are being held by these ones that are already clipped. Alright, so there you go. Now the bracelet is complete, as you can see. And that is your sailor's pinstripe. And the reverse side is like so. Alright, I know this was difficult, but honestly, this could be a lot easier if you had 4 looms. And I didn't want to insult anybody by saying you needed 4 looms, which is why we had to learn how to transfer and do this the long way. Alright,